We're now coming to the first part of the video about the SANXINGDUI Museum.
Good morning, Dr. Wood and Professor Jessica Wilson. Here I'm standing in the center square of the SANXINGDUI Museum. And now behind me, you can see the main building of the SANXINGDUI Museum. And then all these artifacts that exhibited almost 35 years ago are now exhibited in the building behind me. And today, we will show you some of these treasures that exhibit from SANXINGDUI site in this museum. Okay, let's go. Here we are now in the first exhibition hall of the SANXINGDUI Museum. And here we will see two magnificent pieces of bronze artifacts here. And first here we will see a very huge and giant human statue here. And this we call it in Chinese 青铜大立人, the giant standing figure. It's a very large human figure. And we call it 大立人, standing figure in Chinese. And we can see the entire figure is like 2.8 meters in height and almost like 200 kilograms in weight. And it has two parts. The lower part is the base of it, and we can see the top part is a human body. And we can also see on the base, we can see four beast head on different corners of the base. It looks like a mixture of elephant and dragon together. It has a very long nose, and then you can see some ivory-like things on the side of his mouth. So perhaps just a kind of like a mixture of elephant, dragon, and perhaps also like the tiger. We know these three kind of animals are very powerful in nature, so perhaps they use these things to mix together to show something like this guy have very strong and magnificent powers in the ceremony. And we can also see we can see from the top, he has a very special hairstyle. He is wearing, we can call it a hat or some other things. And he wears a very large robe. We call it the dragon robe because the most important motif on the robe is the dragon. And they also have some other different decoration patterns on it. And we can see there are several layers on his robe, almost like 3 layers. On the first top is a very small one and a larger one, and then we can see the inner robe. He doesn't wear any shoes, just has a naked foot. And this is very special because from the new exhibition and from other artifacts that exhibit from SANXINGDUI, we can see two kinds of people. Some people just wearing shoes, and some people are in naked foot. And like this big status, we can imagine he must represent some very higher rank people in the SANXINGDUI society. But why he still do not have any shoes on his foot? This is a question. Perhaps we need to do more research in the future. And we can see the figures here have a very special gestures, and his arms are just in circular shape, and you can see he's holding something. But his hands is just hollow, so we do not know what exactly he is holding in ancient time. Perhaps we can find some new clues in our new exhibition. Some people and the scholars say perhaps he is holding an ivory or a stake, a bronze stake or a golden stake or some other things. But look at we can see the hole is very large in his hands. Anyway, it must be a very huge thing. And now we are going to see another interesting and shocking artifacts here, the gold scepter. We can see it's a long gold foil, and this is not the entire part of the scepter. It used to have a wooden stake in the center, and the gold foil is just the robe on the surface of this gold scepter. And we can also see the details on the surface of the gold scepter, and we can see it's composed by a repeated set of motif, like the fish. It has a fish, arrow, and a bird, and these 3 elements compose the one side of the motif, and it just just repeat on the surface of the scepter. And perhaps we can imagine that these important artifacts used to hold by the leaders of the SANXINGDUI society. Perhaps they just hold it in the during the religious ceremony or some other important scenarios. And this is why we think this gold scepter is one of the most important artifacts in this museum. We can see the entire trees was made of bronze. When the archaeologists did the acquisition in 1986, these bronze artifacts had broken into almost like 70 pieces. And archaeologists used almost like 10 years to place all these large pieces and many small pieces together into these bronze trees. The bronze trees now is just like 4 meters in height. Perhaps it used to be even higher because we can see obviously that there are some pieces on the top are missing. So we expect that we can find these things in the future. It has many branches on it, and we can see many branches on this tree, and each branches have a bird on it, because in the Chinese legendary story, these birds perhaps represent the songs in the sky. So perhaps all these birds represent the 9 songs in the sky in the legendary stories. Here we can also see a dragon that splits from the side from on the side of the tree, and just looks like this dragon just the crown from the sky onto the earth. And we can see the whole parts of this bird on its body, and this technology shows that these people in the ancient times, in the ancient Bronze Age, has mastered very advanced bronze technology at that time. Now here is a bronze hall where we can see the bronze faces. Each of them has a different facial expression, eye shape, nose, and hairstyles. So maybe each of them is a character. Although there are different opinions, it's generally agreed that the masks are used as symbols of the gods for rituals. In the minds of the ancient Shu people, bronze masks are recognized as a symbol of sacred and holy. Next, we are going to explore the bronze mask with the protruding eyes. It's 138 centimeters long and almost like 85 centimeters wide, 65 centimeters high, and weighs 71.1 kilograms. Its protruding eyes and huge ears, its brown tips rise upward. Its eyes are crossed. Its eyeballs are extremely exaggerated, bulging forward to 16 centimeters. The facial features are drawn into sweeping curves. The mouth corners are lifted upward as smiling. So, who was this mask for? This mask is so large and weighs 71.1 kilograms that it could not be used to people to wear it. The opening in the forehead must have held some appendage, perhaps as exquisite front lid. Therefore, it's suspected that the mask was originally hung on the building or walls. This is recognized as most modern cultural relics in SANXINGDUI Museum. There are 6 in total steel-shaped artifacts unearthed with a diameter of 85 centimeters, which is of disc shape and easily makes people remind of steel wheel of car. In a way of producing, people of ancient Shu adopted the segmented casting technology to separately produce the center of the song, the 5 radiant rays, and the outer apertures, the regular round shape, and is eventually divided into 5 equal parts. Such exquisite craftsmanship shows that the ancient Shu people at the time had mastered certain knowledge of geometry and mathematics. Unearthed from SANXINGDUI represent the fact that the bronze smelting and manufacturing technology of ancient Shu states had developed to a fairly high level at that time.